Hey y'all, it's Lonnie and welcome back to my channel, The Homeschool Helpmate, where I help families transition to homeschooling and overcome their homeschool struggles. In today's video, I have a very special guest, my husband, Chris. So you guys hear me talk about him a lot on the channel, but he's never actually been in a video. So we got the opportunity to sit down and chat. I am going to ask him some questions about what he thinks about homeschooling in general and our homeschool journey thus far. So if you are interested in hearing about what my husband thinks about homeschooling, then stay tuned. Let's get into it. All right, guys, so I created some questions to ask my husband all about homeschooling. So if you see me looking down, I'm looking down at the questions that I created for him to answer. So here we go. All right, the first question is, what was your initial thought or feeling when I brought the idea of homeschooling to you?
I honestly feel that you are a great educator. So when you initially came with the idea of doing homeschool, I was all for it just because I believe you wouldn't fail.
That is so sweet. That was so nice.
This is what I feel.
Okay, the next question is, had you ever considered homeschooling any of your children before this?
No. Did not know anything about homeschool. I was never homeschooled. Never crossed my mind. I've never known anybody who had done homeschool before. Yeah,
I agree. Like before I thought about it, I had never, well, before I thought about it, I never thought about it. Before the idea came to me, I never thought about it. I don't know anybody who homeschools. Well, I do now, but didn't know anybody, never. Yeah, I don't know. It just came suddenly. It was a vision. Okay. Next is, and be honest, what concerns did you have or do you currently have about homeschooling?
I think my biggest concern was how would the little one transition from being in normal school around kids her age every day to being home every day with just you.
Yeah. Didn't know how that was going to affect her. Okay, that's a valid concern. So now that we're like into it and doing it, how have your feelings changed about that, or have they?
Now it's not a concern at all. One, I didn't know how big the homeschool world was.
Yeah.
And hearing about all the trips that y'all go on and all the meetup groups that y'all go to and all the kids that she's around and the stuff that she gets to do, now I realize she's not missing the interaction with other kids her age at all. So
yeah, I think that's important. That's a big concern for a lot of people when they think about homeschooling. Like, socialization is the word, but if we think about like public school, think about when we went to public school, and even as a teacher, you do have pockets of time where you can socialize, like lunch and recess, but most of the time you have to sit down and be quiet.
Yeah, you're supposed to be doing your work, not talking anyway.
Right. So in essence, she gets more socialization in homeschool than she did in public school.
Yeah, she definitely goes on more field trips. So.
Oh, we do a lot of stuff. We are busy. And then she goes, oh no, we didn't have a busy week. I'm like, girl, I need a nap. All right. The next question is, what changes have you seen in our lives since we began our homeschool journey? Good, bad, and different.
From what I see, I feel like she likes school more.
I agree.
She loves to read. I can tell when she's been doing good in math because it's, oh, Daddy, I did good in math today, and I got this and I got that. You seem happier. I say you seem happier from you transitioning home instead of in the classroom full time. I know that made a big difference. Like stress level. I don't want to say, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't want to say stamina. You're not as tired.
Yes.
So, but it's all been good.
Well, good. good. No bad or indifferent.
No. Again, on the other hand, I know when you are a little frustrated with the progress and where you think she should be, or, well, we went over that and she had it last week and now this week she's not, and I don't know, I'm always a glass half full
Optimist.
Yeah, so that's when I'm like, well, had she been in a normal classroom we got to drive right by that, because I can't slow down for just one person, and now I know you can kind of loop back around and make sure that she gets it.
Right, and I appreciate that, like, wholeheartedly. I probably haven't told you, but I do appreciate that, because sometimes I get stressed out about where we are, and I've mentioned it before in a few videos, like, you keep me grounded in saying that, okay, well, this is why we homeschool, because you can go back and make sure that she's getting whatever she needs to get. So yeah. Oh, what about, so I know this is definitely an adjustment, and speak on it if you like, budget. Dun, dun, dun. So we had to, of course, adjust our budget a little bit, because I don't have exactly the full-time income that I had from teaching, quote unquote, because I really didn't make that much money as a teacher. Let's be honest. Let's be clear.
I actually haven't seen that much of a difference. I didn't come up with this as a concern earlier, but initially, when you're like, all right, so we're going to need to buy this and buy that, hearing it, it's like, oh God, how much money we're going to be spending. But I haven't seen that big of a difference when you purchase stuff for class and, the various events that y'all go to. I really haven't seen the impact on the budget at all. So
yeah, well, good. I think it almost balances out. Like, you guys who have been watching my channel for a while, you know that I do still work. I just work from home now. So I do still have some income, but I don't have the added, like, gas. When do I get gas? Like, maybe once a week. And that's kind of a stretch. So there's less like in gas. We're spending less in food, because we're not like sending money to school for lunch for myself and for her. So it evens itself out. And I know a lot of people like get about homeschool because the budget, sometimes you have to go down to one budget, or buying curriculum and supplies and trips and all that stuff. It can add up quickly, but just do what you can within your budget. Okay, the next one is a imaginative / hypothetical question. If you could go back in time, would you start with homeschooling your children, or would you traditional public school them first and then transition to homeschool, or what kind of mix would you do you think?
I think I probably would have left it the same. Initially start them in public school and transition to homeschool. I probably would have been a little more inclined to transition to homeschool at an earlier grade. But I think it's important for them initially to have the, socialization, to where I'm used to being in a classroom around other kids all day. I think it's vital stuff that they learn, in doing that. So I think the way that we did it was good.
Yeah, I think I would do the same thing, especially because we're blended. So half of the time we only have one child in the house. So some of the skills, like, she may not have learned had she just started off homeschool, like simple, like sharing.
That's an important one.
Right. Like sharing or being nice to people or stuff like that. She may not have gotten it as quickly as she did had she just went straight homeschool. So I brought up our blended family. So for those of you who don't know what a blended family is, because I do say that phrase a lot. So Chris and I have one child together biologically, and then he has 2 older children that are also mine, but just not biological. That's all. Okay. So blended family question. So we have 2 children who are not homeschooled. So our older kids are in traditional public school, how do you think seeing their younger sibling being homeschooled affects or impacts them?
I wouldn't say that they're jealous. I do, however, feel that because the little one is homeschooled, you guys can be a little more creative with your day-to-day stuff that you do, as well as in the field trips that you go on and the different meetup groups you go to. So you guys are doing stuff out of the norm than a regular public school do. So I know when they hear like, oh, today we got to go do archery and I got to shoot a bow and arrow, for them it's like, oh, well, that sounds cool. So I do think in hearing those stories, they would like to partake in some of that stuff, but I don't think it's an animosity type thing.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think like in the beginning, that was one of my concerns, is I thought it would create almost a tension like between them, because it's, well, why do you get to stay home and I have to go to school? But I don't know. I think it's been fine. And at first I was like feeling bad because they were missing out on a lot of activities and stuff. But then I had to remind myself, like, they get to do things at school too that she doesn't get to do, and I don't feel bad about that. So, you know, in turn, I shouldn't feel bad about things that she gets to do at school. And like, we try to include them in things if we can, depending on the time frame. So like when we were going to sign language class, we were able to take all the kids because it was later in the evening and it was on a day that we had them. So that worked out. So yeah. And I think our son officially wants to be homeschooled now. Like, I think he wants to be homeschooled because he asked me, like, oh, this summer, can you do a homeschool for all of us?
Which is good.
Yeah.
It's awesome because I'm all for learning. So,
oh,
you want to learn?
Right.
Yes. We can put it together, a plan for you.
Yes. So we'll be doing a abbreviated version / you know, maybe we'll do like a 2-day-a-week type situation.
Good, because we all know summer drop-off is real.
Whoo! Say it again, parent. Yes, summer drop-off is crazy. So we'll do the best we can to prevent that. Yeah. I don't know if I kind of already asked this. What do you think are the benefits of homeschooling, just in general?
Like I mentioned earlier, knowing that you can kind of put the brakes on things if you come to a certain curriculum that she's not getting initially, to be able to have the time to kind of, all right, well, let's take a pause right here and navigate different ways of trying to teach it to make sure that she gets it. I think that's by far the biggest benefit, because again, that ensures that she got this before we move on to the next thing. Whereas in public school, again, I can't stop the train for the individuals when I got, you know, a certain point I got to get to with everyone else.
Right.
So.
And a very, very, very important question. So what advice would you give to spouses who aren't in charge of the day-to-day things in homeschooling? Like, how can they be a support to the spouse who is? Yeah,
I don't want to say just give them whatever they need.
Yes.
But again, being that, like I said, I'm off working, whenever you need something or come up with an idea, again, I think it's important for me to kind of support your vision in the route that you are deciding to take. More than anything, other than that, I really don't have anything else.
Yeah, I think that, see, that worked perfect because that was what I wanted you to say. Just be a support, you know, like encourage them, be there to listen to them when they want to vent. Like, it's just like going to work, like you're going to have good days and bad days, and just be that ear when I'm venting and I'm like, today today is a hot mess, you know, like he's like, okay, honey, you can do it. You're great at this. So he helps calm me down because sometimes I do jump off the deep end a little bit. And I'm like, why are we doing this? But most of the time it's fine. But, you know, everybody has those days. So if you aren't doing the homeschooling per se, you're not there all the time with the kids, make sure that you're supporting your spouse. Communicate with them. Like if you feel like something is a little off or something, you have an idea for something, share that with them, because ultimately, like, it's a unit, it's a team thing. It's not you homeschooling and then your spouse like, all right, just go, whatever happens happens. So be on one accord.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Any final words of wisdom or anything about transitioning to homeschooling or anything?
Yes. Again, initially I heard, okay, I want to do homeschool. And again, being unfamiliar with it, you know, what does that entail? Got to buy a bunch of stuff. It's not hard. The transition was seamless. So if anybody is thinking about it and is, you know, worried about it or have any doubts, the transition, you won't even notice it.
Yeah. And I think, because we had a weird transition kind of too, because we had our niece here, because we keep her during the summer and she stayed a little bit longer. So when we started our school year, it was actually two littles. One who was only going to be here for a couple weeks, but it worked out. It was a very good, smooth, like seamless transition. Everybody's transition is not going to be like that, especially like if you have older kids. I think they get more of a like pushback from the kids because, you know, they're used to. Yeah,
that's what they're accustomed to.
Right. They're used to going to school, a traditional school every day and all of that. So, you know, everybody's transition will be different, but it does not need to be difficult. You don't have to hop straight into homeschooling when you come out of public school. You can take that break. There are no rules. So just do what you think is best for your family. Yeah. All right, honey. Well, thank you for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
All right, guys, that's all we have for you today. If you have any more questions or you want to know what my husband thinks about something as it pertains to homeschooling, please just drop a comment down below. Make sure you give this video a big thumbs up and make sure you hit that subscribe button. If you want to see this handsome face on any more videos, make sure you tell me that in the comments below. Also, you can leave a purple heart emoji because he has on a purple shirt. So if you want to see him,
where are you going?
if you want to see him in more videos, leave a purple heart emoji. All right, guys, I'll see you in the next one. Bye.
I'm like, oh, you should do more videos with your husband. Y'all doing good.
Oh, really?
And this gonna be the norm.
Oh, okay. You ready for that life?
No.
Oh.
I am not.
Why are you on the internet? See, he cannot focus.
I can't focus. I'm waiting for you to do your intro. Okay.
You can't be doing that. Okay.